Do you want to know when America became an empire, when it became a superpower? After World War II. We became a superpower the moment the British Empire fell. When did the British Empire fall? After World War II. They did. They really did. So this is where I've said before, you can understand everything with history if you look at it through the biblical lens, because you could see why God did certain things, why he raised this country up and took this one down, because he's raising a king up here and he's taking a king down here. And he bases it on if they are following his will, okay? After World War II, Britain would not support Israel being an independent state. What did God do? Pulled the power away from them and rose America up. America, you are now on the throne. You are now the empire. God himself has raised you up. And if you think that God has not raised you up for a specific reason, then that's foolishness. God does it and he has expectations. He doesn't just raise you up into an empire for no reason. What are the expectations? That we stand by Israel. So when Tucker Carlson, and he got all of his, liberals all cheering him on for going after Ted Cruz, because Ted Cruz said, well, I was taught, that we're supposed to support Israel. And, Tucker made his little demonic comments and everything, and, just thinks that he's, so wise and just a fool following a demon. They are doing that on purpose. I've been trying to say this to people. Do you think the devil doesn't know how to get countries to lose their power? He's been doing it since day one. Here's another reason why the letter to the Church of Philadelphia is talking to America. Because it's in that very letter that says, hold on to your crown. Don't hold fast. Don't lose your crown. America was put on the throne after World War II. Rapidly. Like we were moving towards prosperity before that, but nothing like what happened after World War II. Because God took an empire down and he raised us up to be the empire. What's the expectation of America? To stand by Israel, which is why we've done it. This world does not have to like it. This world does not have to believe that. But again, if you look at history of what's happened and look at it through the biblical lens, you can understand. Many people in Ireland felt that Mary, Queen of Scots, should have been on the throne. She wasn't. Why? Because God was not going to recognize a Catholic. Her son, so that the royal line still continued because it was her son that became the king. He was King James I, the sixth king of Scotland. I would say probably next to King David, King James I is high up in God's eyes. King James I. He was baptized by Mary Queen of Scots as Catholic. But then she was put in jail, and because people believe that she was behind getting her husband killed. And I've never looked into any of that. It doesn't matter. It's not pertinent to the story. But it shows how God was not, he didn't protect her. See, it's important to recognize who is God protecting. Because it can tell you a lot about if they're legit. So clearly, it was still from the same bloodline, King James the Sixth, or King James the Sixth of Scotland, First of England, was still the bloodline. So God still, he was the one raised up, but he was raised by Presbyterians or Protestants, okay. And of course, he went after all this nonsense, okay, and wouldn't let the Catholic Church get in edgewise into the monarch. So there's many things where Britain was following God's will. And so God kept them as an empire. They blew it when they would not support Israel becoming a state. So God said it's time. He knew it was going to happen anyway because he sent the Scottish Covenanters here. He sent the Puritans and Pilgrims, all those people that King James made policies for so they could come here so he could get them out of his hair. But at the same time, all of that was falling into place with God because God knew, nope, there's going to come this time. I'm going to raise up America because they will protect Israel because I honor it and it's the land I gave them. Regardless of what Arabs think, regardless of what anybody in this world thinks. That's what God says. So that is the expectation of you, America. God doesn't just raise countries up with no expectations. So recognize who Candace Owens is. Recognize who Tucker is. I'm sorry that they decided to follow demons, but that is what they are doing. They want to get America to lose her crown. It's why the letter to the Church of Philadelphia is to you. It's the only letter that says that God is telling you don't lose your crown. Well, who has been on the empire, on the throne since World War II? America. You are crowned. Don't lose it. They want you to lose it. It all goes back to the whole chosen people thing. I've thought about this for so long because, I think that's what causes people to persecute the Jews. Is because God said they're the chosen people. And I think people get in their feelings about it. It's like, God loves them more than us. It's like, you're so stupid. Because it's not true. But I think that God having a chosen people that are chosen is a way he measures you, everybody, is how you treat them. So I did videos a couple months ago about the Jews loved Abraham Lincoln. He loved them though. I mean, he was from Illinois, and back then in Illinois there wasn't any Jews. So when he met people that were Jewish, he saw them all as Israelites. He saw them all as Israelites. And in a way, you could say they are, even though the demons like Candace Owens and the rest of that group want to say, oh, it's this group of Jews and that group of Jews. They do all that because, also to the letter of Church of Philadelphia, it talks about the fake Jews. But that's for God to decide, not us. But Abraham Lincoln, he saw them all as Israelites. So, recently those demons that hate the Jews were making fun of Trump, because they love to say that Israel controls us, which is just bullshit. They're just following demons wanting to get America to lose her crown. Truth. But they were showing, Donald Trump pulling out the chair so Netanyahu could sit down, and so everybody made this big deal about that. It's like that's something Abraham Lincoln would have done too. He saw them as special. Nobody ever sees them as special, and yet you would think people should, given that God said they are his chosen people. Yeah, I know, it gets people mad, doesn't it? Well, that's just too bad. That's the way God did it, so whether you like it or not. So that's the reason he raised us up. That's the reason that's Candace Owens wants America to lose her power. So does Tucker. I don't know why. They follow a darkness. It's just the way it is. They make these excuses that, no, it's not about the Jews, it's about the government. No, we all see through that, what you're trying to do. So if you want to end up like Britain and lose your power, and you don't want that to happen because it affects prosperity and everything. And, Donald Trump posted this. The big question to be answered is whether or not President Xi of China will mention the massive amount of support and blood the United States gave to China in order to secure its freedoms from a very unfriendly foreign invader. Many Americans died in China's quest for victory and glory. I hope that they are rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery, sacrifice. May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great and lasting day of celebration. Please give my warm regards to Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, as you conspire against the United States today. So even though those superpowers think that they're going to win against America, you're coming up against the hands of God.